What's going on, you guys? Ryan from Wadfigs here. It has been a very long time since I've done a prediction video. I recently put up a poll asking you guys, do you want me to do Rumble predictions? And a lot of you guys, I think it was like 95% or something, said yes. So here I am with my Royal Rumble predictions. Though this time I'm doing it differently. There are a lot of matches that I just do not care about, to be completely honest with you. Some of them might surprise you. There are really only 3 matches on this show that I care about who wins. So what I'm going to do is run through really quickly my predictions for the rest of the matches, which is a lot of them. And then I'll get into the 3 matches and then sort of talk about obviously what I think is going to happen and what it means for WrestleMania. Starting off first with the Cruiserweight Championship match. I'm going to pick Buddy Murphy to retain. Obviously, he faces Kalisto, Kira Tozawa, and Hideo Itami. U.S. Championship match, Rusev defending against Nakamura. I pick Rusev. This match is going to be terrible. At least I think it is. The Bar versus Miz and Shane. I'm going to pick the Bar to retain. We've got Asuka versus Becky. I think Becky is going to win, though I wouldn't be surprised if she lost and then won the Rumble. We've got Ronda versus Sasha. I pick Ronda. And then we've got the Women's Royal Rumble. And again, like I said, I pick Becky. But if Becky isn't winning, then I'll probably have to pick Charlotte, I guess. I mean, she always wins everything, so I'll go with Charlotte. Okay, now we can actually get into the matches that I'm excited for. The first match that I'm definitely looking forward to is Daniel Bryan defending the title, the WWE Championship, of course, against AJ Styles. And while I haven't been watching Raw or SmackDown really over the past month or so, or even longer actually, I have watched clips on YouTube and segments between these two because I think the feud has been really good. And I love this new version of Daniel Bryan. I never thought I'd ever see him as a heel again, but here we are, following the whole Yes Movement thing, and his heel run has been really, really great as champ, but I think his reign is going to end, and I think AJ becomes the WWE Champion. And I think after AJ wins the title, the feud with Bryan is likely over. They obviously, when the whole McMahon regime came back, they got rid of the championship rematch stipulation. I think that's what I last saw. And if that's the case, I don't think there's any reason to drag this feud on any longer than it has to be. WWE made a big mistake by dragging on the AJ Nakamura feud and the AJ and Joe feud. And they don't need to do that with the Daniel Bryan feud. After this match, if AJ wins or if Bryan wins, leave it alone. Let it sit. It was a great feud. Let's move on from it, even though it was great. And sometimes when they have something that's great or good, they sort of just kill it by just watering it down and constantly having rematches. So leave it in the past after this. And after AJ wins, it obviously sets up for WrestleMania and who he faces. And the name that's been thrown around a lot, and that I think is probably most likely because it just makes sense, is AJ versus Randy Orton for the WWE title at WrestleMania. And I don't think Orton's going to win the Royal Rumble. Maybe he wins a chamber match or a number 1's contender match and goes on to face AJ. And that's not terrible by any means. They've only had a few matches. I think actually one on SmackDown that I remember at least. But it's a program and a feud that hasn't been done yet that could be very good. But just 2 other names I want to throw out there for guys I would like to see AJ face for the WWE title at Mania. One is Andrade Cien Almas. I think he's proven to a lot of people with this feud with Rey Mysterio that he really is that good and deserves to be a main eventer. A lot of people knew that before the matches with Rey, but I'm glad some people were able to open their eyes and see how good he is, because my God, he is definitely worthy of a WWE title shot. And the next name that maybe might shock people or just kind of catch people off guard that I think would make for a great story and match at WrestleMania is AJ defending the title against Jeff Hardy. I know Jeff has been feuding with Joe, but he hasn't really done anything crazy since the feud with Orton. But I think Jeff deserves one more shot at being world champion before it's all said and done. And I think this year's WrestleMania is a perfect opportunity to have Jeff face AJ. You can build the storyline up as Jeff's last shot, to himself to be a world champion. He thinks he's got one more run left in him. And him and AJ at Mania would be an amazing match I think everybody would love. So there we go. Back to the Rumble match. Obviously, I predict AJ to walk out, once again, the new WWE Champion. Then we have the Universal title match where the quote-unquote champion Brock Lesnar will defend his title against Finn Balor. Now, as it stands right now, Finn Balor told, I believe, ESPN or some other source that he won't be coming out as the Demon. I would certainly love to see the Demon, but whether he's the Demon or not, I don't think it changes the outcome, because I'm picking Brock Lesnar, very unfortunately, to retain his Universal Championship. In an alternate universe, my dream universe, Finn Balor would slay the Beast. He would kick his ass and win the Universal Championship. I would then have somebody like Rollins go on to win the Royal Rumble and then challenge Balor at Mania, but that, to me, just seems very unlikely. I think they're going to have Brock hold on to the title until Mania. I just hope this match is very good. Because, listen, I know a lot of people liked the Brock and Bryan match from Survivor Series, but I felt like I was in the minority of people who really didn't enjoy it, because I knew the entire time Brock was going to win. There was never any doubt about it. And it was just very similar to the AJ Styles match. So here we have Brock going up against somebody similar to AJ, similar to Bryan in size and the way they wrestle. And if that's the case, I really just hope this match isn't Brock suplexing Balor for 10 minutes, Balor makes a comeback, it's not good, and then he gets F5'd and pinned. It's really overdone, it's very boring. I just want them to do this differently, make it interesting, make people actually believe Finn has a chance to beat Brock, which realistically, he really doesn't. The only way I could ever see Finn winning is if someone like Strowman or maybe McIntyre or somebody that's going on to face Brock at Mania interferes to cost Brock the match. But at the end of the day, Brock Lesnar will still be the Universal Champion. And finally, what I'm most looking forward to, how can you not ever be excited for the Royal Rumble? I mean, it's probably my favorite part of the year, honestly. The Men's Rumble match this year is very interesting because usually there's always a clear-cut guy that you know is going to win, but I really think this year there's a lot of options. But before I dive into who I think is going to win the actual Rumble match, let's go ahead and talk about the best part about the Rumble match, better than the winner and the losers. It's the surprises, the surprise returns, the surprise debuts, at least in my opinion, is the most exciting part about the Royal Rumble, because you truly never know who's coming out next, minus the number 30 spot this year, which they spoiled, and R-Truth is apparently coming out. But let's talk about surprises. And number one that I want to get out of the way, the name everybody's been throwing around, Kenny Omega. Everybody seems to believe, or not everybody, I shouldn't say that. There's a large amount of people that believe Kenny Omega is going to be in this Royal Rumble, and I would say the odds of that happening are 1 in 100. I really just don't see it happening. I mean, it's not even confirmed that he's coming to WWE, so to assume he's going to be in the Rumble, it's very unlikely. It would certainly make for an amazing moment, but I certainly wouldn't get excited over Kenny being in the Rumble. I just don't think it's going to happen. Starting off with name number one, we have The Rock. And it's been rumored for a while that Rock and Brock could be the main event of this year's WrestleMania. It's certainly been discussed, but I don't think The Rock is going to be returning to the WWE, at least not now. Rock and Brock is a match I maybe wanted to see a few years ago, but the thought of having Rock and Brock for the Universal title and Rock becoming Universal Champion, it just doesn't excite me. We don't want another, at least I don't want another part-time champion. I just want a guy who's going to be able to defend the title and be on TV every week. I was enjoying Reigns' reign as Universal Champion when he won the title because he was on TV. It was interesting. He was fighting at pay-per-views. He was defending his title on Raw sometimes against Finn, which was awesome. But Brock, or I should say Rock, I know a lot of people like Rock. Obviously I do too, but I don't think he's returning this Sunday. Kevin Owens is an interesting one. Obviously, I could mention Sami Zayn with him too, but Zayn mentioned recently that he's not close to coming back. So Kevin Owens, we haven't heard much about. I know he's supposed to be back before Mania, so that could mean he's ready to go, although I'm not sure. I haven't seen any reports about it. I would certainly, though, love to see Owens return. I don't think he has a shot at winning realistically, but watch out for a Kevin Owens return because it's definitely possible. Now this is a biased one, but obviously my favorite wrestler, Rob Van Dam, is always rumored to return in the Rumble, and a few months ago he made some comments about possibly hinting at a return. He could have just been saying that, or maybe he was hinting at actually coming back for real, and if that's the case, I would be very, very excited to see an RVD return at the Rumble, obviously. I don't think it's likely. You can always throw his name out there like I am now. Again, I would freak out if he came came back, because it's been a really long time since he's been in the company. I think almost 5 years now, which is absolutely crazy. So, I don't know, maybe an RVD return? Roman Reigns' name has been thrown out a lot as a possible return, though I don't think it's going to happen. And if it were to happen, now certainly I would be happy to see Reigns, but the thought of another Reigns-Brock WrestleMania match just does not excite me. But luckily, I really don't think Reigns is going to be winning, because I don't even think he'll be in the Rumble. I'd imagine he will be ready, I don't know, maybe before the year ends, maybe during the new year. I mean, there are reports he won't even be back till 2020, but we honestly don't know, and I don't think really anybody knows, so I wouldn't expect Reigns to come out. Now, some surprises I think I can almost guarantee is an NXT surprise debut, obviously. Last year we had Andrade and Adam Cole. Andrade obviously was called up to the main roster afterwards. Adam Cole is still in NXT, but I think this year, and I'm glad they're making it a staple, at least I think, to have more NXT guys in the Rumble. Two names I'm going to throw out there because I have their figures here, so I think I just should. Obviously, Tommaso Ciampa is currently NXT champion, at least as of the time I'm filming this. He is facing Aleister Black, so he could have dropped the title by now, or by the time you're watching this. So maybe, just like Andrade being champ, he'll be in the Rumble. Johnny Gargano too, he's also fighting for the North American Championship, so who knows, maybe he can be in the Rumble. But I think the two most likely, or actually there's three that I think are very likely to make their debut and, you know, be a surprise in the Rumble, are Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, and Matt Riddle. One of these five guys I think is going to be guaranteed to be there, so you have my word. Now we move on to who I think is going to win the Rumble match, and I really think it's between two guys, that being Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I don't have a McIntyre figure, but I'm putting Strowman's name out there too because I think he's number 3 on that list. But I am going to go with Seth Rollins. Not only do I think Seth Rollins is going to win, I absolutely want Rollins to win more than anybody else. Rollins versus Brock at Mania, it needs to happen. We need Rollins to be Universal Champion. But I've seen people throw the idea out that if Rollins wins and AJ wins, who's to say Rollins doesn't challenge AJ? And that would be an amazing match too. But there's already a story between Brock and Rollins. Rollins has been taking jabs at Brock multiple times throughout promos over the past few months. They've really been building towards it, and it makes me believe that Rollins is going to win and go on to beat Brock at Mania. McIntyre is likely to. I know they're very much behind McIntyre right now, and I do like Drew, but right now is not the right time. Rollins is the right man for the job to win the Rumble, to go on to WrestleMania and beat Brock Lesnar. But that does it for my predictions for the Royal Rumble this year. I hope it's a good show. I know it's very long. It's like 6 hours in total, but I probably won't even start watching it until the actual show begins. I couldn't care less about the pre-show, honestly. But let me know what you guys think. If you agree, what are your predictions? Let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching, though. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. And, of course, as always, stay tuned to the next one.